Hey, good evening, everybody. How are you? This is Freddie Ewan, three-time GM of the Year, 2022 Pan Am Cup, the 2023 regular season champion, 2024 Pan Am Cup runner-up, and of course, the fantasy football god. This is that fantasy football show with Freddie Ewan. Tomorrow, 7 weeks till football season starts. It's getting more and more exciting. The Dallas Cowboys are going to go in to Philadelphia. Philadelphia Eagles are going to receive their rings for the second time in 7 years. Super exciting. Things are starting to heat up a little bit. I'm getting text messages about leagues, sending text messages about leagues. People are dropping out, people are getting in. I'm putting my hopes in for this one guy. I'm even wearing like a Seahawk color tonight. This one dude, he knows who he is. I've had the best time playing fantasy football with him. He dropped out last year in a league and it was just miserable. He actually played in a guillotine league and was out like the first week. So I got to play 1 week with this guy, but this guy is one of my favorite people to play fantasy football with. I have a league opening right now for him and I'm just begging him to come along, begging him, dude, please, please play in this league. He is so fun to play with. But a bunch of leagues are coming up. We have a new league that we're gonna talk about when at some point. It's a new app that once I learn a little bit more about it, we're gonna send it out and try to get some people in. But it's really like it's a different kind of fantasy football where you sign long-term contracts, the whole 9 yards. It should be really interesting how it works, but I don't really fully understand it yet. There's a bunch of tutorial videos that I have not been able to watch. But that's going to come up. But what we're going to talk about today is, a couple things we're going to talk about. First, we're going to talk about is how to prepare for your draft. A lot of people play in three or four different fantasy leagues. You're going to have that week right before the season starts where you're going to have to, be geared and you're going to have to draft a lot of players. You're going to be in keeper leagues. There's going to be super flex leagues, all kinds of things. And how to prepare for your draft, basically. I think the first thing and the biggest rule is to really understand your roster, whether you're a one quarterback league, a two quarterback league, if you have one quarterback, two running backs, three wide receivers, or if it's one quarterback, two running backs, two wide receivers, two flexes. If there's a defense or a kicker, it's always good just to understand that, once again, what league you're getting into and the point system also. I made a big mistake 4 or 5 years ago when we were starting this league off. It wasn't a standard scoring league. The quarterbacks actually got 6 points per passing attempt instead of the usual 4 points. And ended up streaming quarterbacks. I started like seven or eight different quarterbacks, but a couple guys bought good quarterbacks, and those were the guys that did it. And just an error on not looking at the point system, how that works. So it's always good just when you're starting off in the league or any league, returning to the league, check out the point system, make sure it's PPR, and then you want to look for guys that kind of mold that joint. There's a lot of running backs that can run for a lot of yards. Derrick Henry is a perfect example. He runs for a lot of yards, can't catch the ball, not a very good PPR running back. Um, when you're actually at the draft, when you're getting ready to draft, what I do is, it's still old school, but I usually print something out where it's a draft kit with draft values of guys, rankings of guys, put it on the side, circle the players that you like, especially when you're in an auction league. The best thing to do is kind of get those values on how much you're going to pay for a guy, how much you are not going to pay for a guy. That's really important when you put that auction league up. Um, when you're actually at the draft too, when you are drafting, very important to be completely in the zone. It's much better to draft on your laptop instead of doing it on a phone. I know a lot of guys have work and whatnot, but if you're drafting from a phone, it's going to be a lot harder than if you are drafting from a laptop. Make sure that there's no distractions. I tell the wife that, hey, I'm going to be in my room for 2 hours, drafting fantasy football, not doing anything else, put the kids to bed, blah, 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 blah. I saw a guy last year, first year in the draft. We're drafting and we're an hour into the draft, and the dude gets up to put his kids to bed for like 15, 20 minutes. And it's just like, that could spoil your entire season if you miss 15, 20 minutes of a certain draft. I mean, I don't even know why you would bother even playing fantasy football then. But that's a big point, is just make sure you're a little bit focused. There's going to be a lot of different drafts if you play in three or four leagues. And basically you're gonna need a little time. You're gonna need a couple hours to yourself when you're making those draft picks. One thing that we do is, I know it's a requirement in one league, is that we all have to get on a Zoom. and 11 or 12 of us all do. I put a Zoom video out for everything too. It's just a good camaraderie instead of you're just standing in front of a computer alone, just looking at it. So that's always a good thing to put out some kind of Zoom thing or something like that. I'm going to bring up too, I'm just going to show you guys really quickly here how it works. This is you can get these off the ESPN website. Um, you know, and a lot of different places have this. A lot of different sites have this. You can buy them. You can go to a paid site, but usually you can get the same amount of information for like an ESPN or Yahoo. But I print out one of these sheets. I usually print out two. This one has the rankings by position right here. It also has their values if you're in an auction draft. So if you're looking at someone like, Bijan Robinson and, they're saying that he's going for $56 in a $200 auction draft, usually a good idea to stay within the values here. I've seen guys pay, way too much money for certain players at one point and, not pan out. And the other thing when you're getting into a draft, especially if it's a redraft, have a little bit of a strategy on what you're going to do, whether it's a running back strategy, hero running back strategy. If you want to have a good quarterback, if you're looking for a tandem, if you want to try to match up Burrow and Chase, Caleb Williams and a Dunze, Hurts, AJ Brown, something like that. The other good thing too is if you're drafting defenses, I stream a lot of defenses. I'm going to tell everyone right now, if you pay more than $1 for defense, it's not a good idea. Same thing kind of goes for kickers. If you're paying more than $1 for a kicker, usually not a good idea. But defenses, if you can draft a running back and you can get the same defense, it's always a good idea because it's just, those extra points matter. And always good to match up the quarterbacks and the wide receivers, good to match up the running backs and the defense they have. So you can get these off of anywhere. They have PPR, non-PPR, the whole nine things. Those are just some basic tips for how to draft. Um, Lastly, we're just going to go through this really quick. I'm going to put this up on the links too, but we're going to go through the running back rankings really quickly. Running back is obviously still a very important part of fantasy football. Just give you the ideas of some guys that I like this year, some guys that I don't like this year. Bijan, I think Bijan might has a good chance to be the number one running back. Saquon Barkley, the guy who might win the ESPY award tonight. The guy, I'm an Eagles fan. The guy had a fantastic year last year. People are going to be drafting and paying up for Saquon Barkley like crazy. I can guarantee you this. He will not nearly have this close a season that he had last year. The Eagles might still do well. He might still put up great yards. He might score a bunch of touchdowns, but they will not have as great a year as they did last year. The other thing about Saquon is you got to remember that the tush push is still around. Jalen Hurts is going to get his share of touchdowns. I am not a big Barkley fan this year, although I'm an Eagles fan. Gibbs, I like a lot. I think still a young guy can do stuff. I think this guy McCaffrey is going to make a big comeback with San Francisco this year. He had the entire year off. This guy, he was the best running back in the league, hands down 2 years ago. Took the 49ers to the Super Bowl. I think this guy's got a little more in the tank. He's got something to prove now. I think CMC is a big, big play. People are going to lay off of him too. Derrick Henry's gonna get his share. Is he going to be as super as last year? I say that every year that he's not going to be. He's putting some wear and tear on, but still Ravens are a good team. They like to run the ball. It's gonna work. This guy I like a lot. I think GD's gonna come right into this league and have like a Saquon Barkley rookie year. I think GD is going to be a beast. A chain, another guy, injury prone is a big guy, but this guy catches a lot of balls out of the backfield. He can be the center point of the Miami offense. Josh Jacobs, big guy's gonna get touchdowns. I think this guy, Jonathan Taylor, is going to have a rebound of a season. Had a great year last year. Bucky Irving is really hit or miss. I think Bucky's a little bit high on this. He's a young guy. He can run. He took over last year for Roddy White. Did a good job, but I am still not fully sold on Bucky Irving. I think Kyron Williams is going to be fine. I think Alvin Kamara is going to be, it's going to be tough for Kamara this year because the Saints just have a horrible offense. Next guy, like Chase Brown. I love this guy. If you have Chase Brown in a keeper league, keep him. Chase Brown's going to do a lot of good things. Cincinnati has a fantastic offense, and they've overlooked Chase Brown. Cook, Whatever you say about Cook, he didn't have a great, he had a great year last year. Cook is gonna get some stuff. He's gonna score some touchdowns. Buffalo scores points. They have the best quarterback in the league. Allen's gonna take some of that away from him, but Cook's gonna be fine. Brees Hall is someone that I am not big on at all. I would not draft Brees Hall if you paid me. Joe Mixon is another guy, had a great year last year, but there is some wear and tear going on in that guy. Houston is gonna look to throw the ball a lot more. Chuba Hubbard is a guy that I really like a lot. Um, Carolina is getting a little bit better. That guy who they drafted last year, Brooks, it turns out he's going to be a total bust in the NFL. Hubbard's going to get his chances. Kenneth Walker, this is a guy I love right now with Seattle. I think he's going to get his points and do it. We get to another rookie right here, DJ RJ Harvey. Broncos have a good offense. Bo Nix is going to be good. This guy's getting an opportunity. Jury is still out on him. I like Harvey. I think any rookie running back you take is going to get some time more towards the end of the year. Next guy I like, especially when you heard about the Harris injury today, Amar Hampton's going to be something else. Draft this guy all day long. Connor, believe it or not, Connor can still put up points. He's still going to be the back in Arizona. Swift is going to be fine. I think Chicago's going to have a much better offense. Aaron Jones with Minnesota, I am not big on at all. Get rid of Aaron Jones. Do not draft him. Another guy that I will not be drafting anywhere is David Montgomery. Gibbs is about to take over that entire offense and make that thing go to work and zoom. Let me bring up the second set of running backs. Um, Caleb Johnson, this guy's going to be on the Steelers. This guy's probably going to have the ball. Steelers like to run. I think this is a good rookie to pick. Pollard's kind of hit or miss. He got really good last year. He was really good in a year with Dallas. Year in, year off. I think he's got off a year. Hendrickson will have a chance to be a good player with New England, but it's going to take him a while. Pacheco is a guy that I think can really turn it around. Big injury last year. Pacheco was a beast last year coming in there early. Junkins on Cleveland. I think this guy's going to have opportunities, but then again, the Cleveland offense sucks. Najee Harris, do not draft him at all. B. Robinson, I still like B. Robinson. He's still a young guy. He's still going to get his stuff. Jalen Warren. Jalen Warren's going to be up against Caleb Johnson. I'm not a big guy on this. Tyrone Tracy. Tracy came hot last year, but I am not big on Tracy. I don't think he's going to do much because they got that guy Skeet above. The Giants are going to use him a lot. You watch. ETN is done. Forget about him. Javonte Williams. I'm actually going to get Javonte Williams in a couple drafts. And I'm going to tell you why, because the Cowboys have no running backs whatsoever. I think they took like a rookie in the 6th round that no one heard of. This guy is going to have an opportunity. He's had opportunities before, but this guy is going to have an opportunity to get the rock a lot in Dallas, especially if Dallas can score again with Dak. As long as Dak plays, I think he's a good guy to have. Jordan Mason, I love this guy. If you can get Jordan Mason, pick him up, pick him up, pick him up. Deshaun Stevenson fumbles the ball all over the place. Um, that's why they got Hendrickson. I am not big on Stevenson at all. Eckler, forget about the Eckler's 150 years old. Roddy White. Roddy White's going to score a couple touchdowns here and there, but then again, he's going to back up Bucky. Spears, I think Spears has a good chance. Also, I don't think Tony Pollard's going to be as good as you think. I think Spears has a good chance. And here's that guy, Skeetabo, right there. Skeetabo is actually the last player to lead the NCAA in both rushing and receiving yards as a running back was CMC. Skeetabo's the other guy. Charbonnet, I think Walker's going to have such a big year. I think Charbonnet is just going to be kind of a Dobbins is going to have Dobbins is hit or Dobbins is getting a little bit old, but Dobbins is going to have a good opportunity, I think, in Denver too. Denver with the rookie running back. We'll see what happens. Rico Dow. I don't know. I'm not big on Rico Dow. Benson, another guy. Benson's going to have an opportunity to take over for Connor, but I do think Connor's got more in him. Algier is strictly a handcuff. They're going to give Bijan the ball all day long. This guy, Blue, I don't even know who he is. And this guy, Guerrero, is going to back up CMC. Great handcuff. That's it. I'm not going to go through the third rookie reports or anything, but this goes, that's my opinion on the running backs. We're going to have a couple more shows where we're going to talk about quarterbacks. We're going to talk about wide receivers. We're going to talk about tight ends, and should be really exciting as we lead up into the draft. We're also going to have a lot of special guests on the show. We did last week. We had Mr. Rich Michelli, the commission on the show, and also the greatest guest of all time, Mr. Brian McCluskey, was on the show last week. So we're going to get a lot more people on the show and start talking fantasy football, baby. 7 weeks from tomorrow. Maybe we can get my boy Doug in here. I'm also going to try to get a NFL pro, Mr. James Ahedabo, who I'm in a couple leagues with. Anyway, that's the show for tonight. Everyone have a great evening. And just remember, 7 weeks from tomorrow, Philadelphia Eagles get their rings against the Dallas Cowboys. Have a great night, everyone. Bye bye.